Just at the conclusion of my almost 2-year ordeal in Belfast, where I was accused of a hate crime after a speech I made at the Belfast City Hall in August 2017. I was invited over to Belfast by a councillor, a Shankill councillor called Jolene Bunting, and to speak at an anti-terrorist rally. I spoke alongside Jada Franson, Paul Golding of Britain First, and Bunksy of the EDL, and I gave a short 5-minute speech which is still available on YouTube, where I talked about the terrorist activities of the IRA, of the Islamists, and of Britain's drive to promote liberty and democracy around the world. Now, what followed from that was my house in England was raided by the PSNI. 5 detectives come over from Belfast and arrested me, and initially I was charged with a breach of the peace, and then I was charged with hate speech, and then began a 2-year ordeal of court appearances, adjournments, police interviews, and eventually the trial itself. And last week we had the verdict from the trial, and the judge simply said not guilty. So it was a really sort of protracted rigmarole which was totally futile. It was a ridiculous charge, but it was just life in the GBSR, the Great Britain Soviet Republic, where free speech is now a very dangerous thing. I mean, that's the 3rd time I've been arrested and charged by the police. The first time was 10 years ago for making a comment at an exhibition in the Anglican Cathedral in Liverpool, which was supposedly about the life of Anne Frank, but was just promoting the idea that Islam is a successful part of our culture, and that Muslims have got a free. In France, there's limitations on their freedom, such as wearing burqas and so on. But in Britain, Muslims are free to do anything they want. And I simply asked the question: could this Muslim girl marry a Christian? Question mark. After asking that question, I was arrested and put through a legal ordeal. So eventually, that was all sort of fell through. The charge was dropped, and but that was in the newspapers, and again there was police interviews, court appearances. Cost a lot of money to pursue that case against me, and ultimately it was all futile. That was the first case. The second case involved the flying of a gay flag above the police station, where I went in and asked what the flag was, why it was above the police station, and was it right that it should be there. And for asking these pertinent questions, I was arrested for a homophobic hate crime again, attempt to limit our freedom of speech. Again, it was in the newspapers, I had police interviews, and they dropped the charges eventually. So this is the 3rd time, and these cases have been ongoing, that I've had to face charges from the police on ridiculous issues about freedom of speech. And you begin to realise Britain has become an absurdity. We are the heart. We were the source of liberty around the world. We prided ourselves on our freedom, English liberty, and the freedom of speech that we had here, and we exported that, most notably to the United States of America. But now we've become incredibly sensitive about certain comments relating to certain groups. It's as if the minorities in this country are being so empowered that they're beyond criticism. I mean, I was interviewed by the BBC after the trial in Belfast last week, and they asked me, did I believe all Muslims were terrorists? And I said, no. I said all I was doing was challenging the ideology of Islam, putting it under the microscope, taking a critical approach. Islam has got some very controversial areas, and Sharia law does not allow any criticism of the Islamic faith or the Islamic ideology. That is unacceptable to the British. We are a people which values liberty and freedom, and we cannot bow the knee to that. And yet we see organisations such as Facebook, the social media, Twitter. I've been banned for life off Twitter for being critical of Islam. I'm currently banned from Facebook for being for attending a Tommy Robinson rally in Manchester and taking a photograph. For that, I was banned off Facebook. I mean, these are incredibly trivial and non-criminal activities which are being used to justify draconian measures. It's utterly and totally absurd, and we can't tolerate that in England. It's gone way too far, and the British people should not be intimidated in this way. We need politicians to speak out. I mean, politicians have spoken out, but we need the law. We don't want people like Yvette Cooper narrowing and constantly closing down freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of assembly. It's like everyone has become ultra sensitive now. We live in a multicultural society, and certain groups, they're sort of, I don't know if they're frightened of creating sort of tensions, but they want to make sure that certain groups are protected and allowed to grow and prosper, even at the expense of other groups, even at the expense of our freedom. And that is unacceptable. This is our nation. I mean, my forefathers have built this nation through generations, through their sacrifice. Sometimes they sacrificed their very lives. I mean, I lost 3 great uncles in the First World War. My grandfather fought in the Second World War. My relatives have fought many wars to defend this country and to defend its liberty. And our liberty cannot be taken from us in such a casual manner. What the politicians are doing in this country is absolutely horrendous. We need to reassert freedom of speech and exercise that freedom of speech. If I want to be critical of Islam, I will be critical of Islam because it justifies it in my opinion. I mean, I don't want to see a faith become dominant or a legal system become dominant in this country, which is totalitarian, which has no tolerance or acceptance of the other. And that's the very nature of Islamic societies across the globe, where anyone who denies that Muhammad is a prophet, is accused of blasphemy and is facing, in places like Pakistan, the death penalty. We can't go down this slippery slope of empowering these sort of ideologies until they become legally dominant in our country. Even the homosexual agenda. I mean, I'm a Christian. I believe homosexuality is wrong. I have the right to hold that opinion. It's an opinion which was the norm in Western civilization until very recently, that regarded homosexual acts as perverted and unacceptable. Now, you may disagree with that, but that's part of the process of debate. One idea can be posited against another idea. We want to encourage dialogue and debate in our society. But now they're shutting down debate and they're shutting down proper discussion, and it's not acceptable. This is totally anathema to the British culture and British traditions. And I'm really sort of proud of the fact that I've been arrested and charged 3 times, but I've been vindicated 3 times. No surrender. No surrender to the bullies. That's my message. Thank you. Thank you for watching this video. We're putting out messages as often as we can now to stir up the people of this nation and the people of the West to fight back on behalf of their nations, to have confidence that we can win. We're trying to buy new equipment. We want to buy a small camera so that we can film outside, and we want to buy some radio mics so we can get good sound quality outside. So we're looking for funds really to promote this work that we're doing. So if you support us and you want to invest in this battle to save our nation, there's a PayPal link in the description. If you can, please make a donation. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Ring the bell as well so you get a notification of any future videos we make. We're turning out 2, 3, 4 videos a week now, and we're going to keep on this battle until we win. Thank you.